my fellow comic book collectors. This is part 5 of this Grail unboxing, and it's just going to be slabs from here on in. So it's not going to be a big unboxing this time. I'm not going to do a lot of books. It's not like you're going to see hundreds of books. This is going to be a smaller. The number of books that I'm going to show is just a few each time, and it's really, I just want to get into, I want to explain the books a bit more and spend a little bit more time with each book. So the first book is a big book for me. If you've been watching my channel, you'd know that one of the collections that I was really striving to complete was my Wonder Woman collection. And this book is the last one I needed for my Wonder Woman collection. It is Wonder Woman number 14. And it's like reasonable grade, 3.5. Presents really well though. I'll take it out of the plastic. And I have to explain this book because I paid too much for this book. And I know that I paid too much because, you know, I kind of worked out what the fair market value is for this book. And the guy, he wanted about 3 to 4 times what the fair market value was for this book. And I didn't want to do it, but I was looking, and I was, month after month would go by, and I'd say, hey, you know, are you willing to negotiate on the price? Come on, like you're way off on the price. You know, he just wasn't willing to negotiate. So month after month would pass, and it was the last book I needed for my Wonder Woman collection. And somebody else had a copy, a higher grade, like a 6, I think it was a 6.0. But they wanted several thousand for it, which I thought was crazy too. So I basically kept on asking the guy, can you come down this price? Can you come down this price? And the sad thing was, this was in England. This book was from England. And there was also shipping. Shipping was really expensive. Shipping was like $50 by itself, just for the shipping. I was like, ah, man. So I was trying to get him to negotiate on the price, just to get it to be a normal price. So I ended up paying about almost double of fair market value, which was about half off his original price, which still is too much. Yeah, so I did talk him down, but I just really couldn't get this book for the price I wanted. But I was so desperate to get this book in my collection because it is the last one I needed. Every time I saw it, like, I've only seen this book maybe once before available where I could have bought it at Heritage Auctions, and it sold for a lot. So I was like, oh, I don't really want to get, I didn't want to pay that much for it. So yeah, I was quite happy to get this copy. So sometimes you have to pay a little extra for a book just because it is what it is. You know, it's hard to get. It's early issue of Wonder Woman. There's nothing special. It's not a key or anything. There's nothing, you know, super special about this book. But it is the last Wonder Woman I needed for my collection. So finally, I have the complete Wonder Woman collection from number 1 all the way up to 329. So, and then I have the second series as well that I'm not complete, but have a bunch of. So yeah, so this is H.G. Peter cover and art, and yeah, so just a really great Wonder Woman cover. Okay, so that's Wonder Woman. That was from 1945, so pretty early Wonder Woman. Okay, so this next book, oh, this is a funny one. Okay. So this book actually got really hot, and this is actually something that you got to be careful about. So what happened was the Jeffrey Dahmer series was super popular, okay, really, and it was a good series. But what we get is this Netflix effect, where if it's a comic series that's related to a movie, to something that's going to be on Netflix, what happens is the hype for that comic will go really high, and it'll drive the price 2-3 times what it normally would be. And then the show comes out and they dump it all at once. So people binge watch it. There's not much excitement that builds week to week. It's just all at once. And then they move on to the next hot property. So the Dahmer series was the same way. And this book became really, really hot during and prior to the release of Dahmer, because it's the very first appearance of Dahmer in comics. And it's such a weird one. It is Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ, #1. It's just such a crazy, crazy book. And it just happens to be the very first appearance of Jeffrey Dahmer in comics. There's a later title just called Jeffrey Dahmer, but this is his first appearance in comics. So this book got really, really hot. The price went insane for this book. Still an expensive book, actually. But once the series was done, it really did drop. Maybe half what it was during the peak of the hotness for this book. But it is just such a weird. You got Jeffrey Dahmer on the back there, and you got God cheering in the back there as well. I'm not sure who this guy is, but yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer on the back, Jesus on the front, and it's just such a weird comic. And as I said, it's the first appearance of Jeffrey Dahmer in comics, so it got hot during the whole Netflix series, and the book spiked. And that can happen. And then it's a bit of a thing to be wary of. Like if you know that a comic series is going to be featured on Netflix, in a way, maybe stay back from it, because it will generally spike, and then after the series is done, and it's usually done in a day, because it gets dumped onto Netflix in a day, then it will drop. What you really want to have, if in terms of investment in terms of a series, you want a series that will not just get dropped and then people move on to the next series. What you want to have is it be more of a week to week. Like things that are being released on Disney Plus have that kind of element, where like The Mandalorian, for example, where it's sort of a week to week thing, and people kind of get all excited about it. And there's there's a little bit speculation. Any of the Marvel ones, like when WandaVision came out, there was so much speculation. Oh, Mephisto is going to appear. This character is going to appear. And, there was so much speculation from week to week. And it didn't play out, but it kept the hype for all the books related to Wanda up each week, and actually built week over week. So that's something to be wary of with Netflix series, that they can drop really quickly afterwards. So you gotta be a little careful. Okay, let's see. Okay. So this next book is an interesting one. One sec here, I gotta. All right, this is Captain Marvel 27. And this is another book that kind of spiked and has kind of fallen off from its previous highs. This book is kind of a major key related to Star Fox. So Star Fox was featured at the very end of the Eternals movie, and he's played by what's his name? The singer. What's his name? Very famous singer. Totally blanking on his name. Henry Styles. Henry Styles or Harvey Styles, something Styles. Famous singer playing a Marvel character, and the character is going to be used again. So the hype around Star Fox as a character was pretty high around the Eternals movie. And this book had gone through a crazy spike. Really became an expensive book, because this is, what does it say? Does it actually say his first appearance? No, but it is Star Fox's first, I think it's not Star Fox there. But it's I think it's his first full appearance. He actually makes his first appearance in Iron Man 55, the one with the first appearance of Drax and all those characters. and Thanos and stuff like that. But this is his first full appearance. So this is Captain Marvel 27 from 1973, and it's got Thanos, Star Fox, Mentor, Death, Super Skrull, and the Avengers. An appearance from Drax as well. So just kind of a key for Star Fox. And it's one that, as I said, it's really come off its highs. So I picked this up very inexpensively, even though it's a 7.0. And that's the kind of thing I like to get. Those opportunities where you can buy a book that's normally really expensive. You just wait enough and wait for the to kind of come in line with what you want to pay, and you can pick it up fairly cheaply. And it's still a book that has a lot of potential. So I mean, Star Fox is not done. He's just starting. They just did a cameo of him in the Eternals movie. They're not done utilizing him. He's going to be in future movies. So stay tuned. And actually, I heard that they were going to make a Guardians 2, which is insane. But they are planning. So we're going to see more Guardians, and we're going to see more Star Fox. And the book will probably go back up again. So I like those buying opportunities. Okay, this next book is a bit of nostalgia buy. Let's see if I can get it out. This is Street Fighter #1. And this is actually the first appearance of like Chun-Li and all the Street Fighter characters. So yeah, just a cool, nostalgic. Like if you like Street Fighter, though, this is where they made their first appearances. So Street Fighter #1 from 1993 from Malibu Comics. And it's got classic 90s look to it. Strangely, not as common as you might think to find this book, even though it's from the 90s. It's not as easy to find. So Street Fighter #1, white pages too, so that's kind of nice. And one sec here, I'm going to put it back in the bag. But yeah, just a really great, I've been sort of speculating and also buying books based on nostalgia, that these kind of video game related characters are going to be hot. We saw the Mario effect, where Mario, his comics have done really, really well. And it seems like those video game movies like Sonic and Super Mario have been really received very well, and they perform really well. I mean, Mario is on track to be the #1 animated movie of all time. So just a huge success for those movies. So that's gonna, create demand for the books related to those video game characters. So I'm speculating on a few. So I like, and Street Fighter is one of those. Okay, this next book. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is actually a very rare book, considering it's a Silver Age book. This is a gold key, and it's Johnny Quest #1. This is actually the first appearance of Johnny Quest in comics, and it was actually a very interesting series. So Johnny Quest came out at a time where Hanna-Barbera was really trying to be more mature, more violent, more action. And they really kind of pushed the envelope a bit in terms of when you think of Hanna-Barbera, we think of like Yogi Bear and all these kind of comedic characters and like cartoonish characters. Well, Johnny Quest, and there was a bunch of other titles where they went more adult than the other ones. There was more violence, there was more action, and it was a very short-lived period in Hanna-Barbera where they really were going after that market, the more mature market, and or mature cartoon, I should say. It's still targeting kids, but more mature cartoons. And Johnny Quest was kind of one of those books that was related to that time period. So a lot of people, nostalgic about this series, and but this book, I think there's like only 20 on the census. It's a fairly rare book. The only issue, back cover pinup, story adapted from pilot episode of ABC primetime cartoon series from 1964, and we can see the pinup on the back, which is from the show. So Johnny Quest #1, and I've been picking up. I like things like Scooby-Doo and stuff like that, and this was all from Hanna-Barbera. So yeah, just one I didn't have and wanted to pick up. It's a low grade, but still cool. Oh wow, okay, so I was mentioning that there's a lot of big books in this unboxing, and this last one is a big book. It's like a really big book. I was actually a little bit nervous because when I ordered this book, the tracking for some reason wasn't updating. So it kept on showing that the book was never received, and it just took a week for whatever reason, the tracking to update. I was like, oh my goodness, am I ever going to get this book? Did the guy even send it? And it's a big book. And the thing was, I guess the guy was sort of desperate to sell it quickly. So I got it for almost half the fair market value. Like, it was just really great price. And it's such a rare book. Is such a major book too. So this is Flash Comics 92. So this is the first cover appearance of Black Canary. So that's Black Canary jumping through the hoop. It's just a classic cover, and a classic character. I like my female characters. Her first appearance is in a few issues earlier. I think it's like 86. And it's a dinosaur on the cover. It's a cool cover, but it doesn't have her on the cover. So it's kind of a lame first appearance because she's not on the cover. So I think they really tried to make it up with this first cover appearance by really showcasing her. So at last, Black Canary in a feature of her own. So first Black Canary cover, first Black Canary solo story. So two keys about this one book. And it's just a great Golden Age cover. Very hard book to find, actually. Really low census count on this book. And this is a interesting book because it's white pages. Normally you don't see white pages in the Golden Age, so it's really rare that you get a white pages book, and this is from 1948. The fact that it still has white pages is pretty amazing. It's not a super high grade, it's like a 2.5, but just the cover is really nice. It presents well. The reason it got the lower grade, I believe, is because of this rip. You can see that there's a rip that goes right across there, which does lower the grade. But and there's a rip down here. But it is not noticeable, and it does really present well. I'm surprised that they even knocked it that much. I'll show you the back. The back has a bit of staining. So you see the little stain there. But you got your typical Daisy rifle, air rifles. It's such a Golden Age element to these when they sell guns on the back of a comic. It's kind of awesome. I've actually seen this ad many times, so it's kind of funny. But really great book. I mean, I can't say enough about this book. So Flash Comics 92. First cover appearance, first solo story with Black Canary. And just a great book. So that's it. That was this part. As I said, I spent a little bit more time with each book rather than showing a lot of books. If you like that format, tell me in the comments below. These are bigger books, so I kind of wanted to, normally when I do an unboxing, I'm showing like lots of little books. Well, these are bigger books. They're a little bit more a little bit more money involved. Yeah, I kind of want to spend some more time with them. So Tell me what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel and give it a like. That always helps the algorithm so more people get to see these Golden Age books. So again, thank you for watching. Bye for now.